Thuram was at Barcelona and we were really good friends. And he said, just sit here and the only thing I'm asking you to do is just look at Messi. That's it. And I never seen anything like this before. And I've seen Zidane training or Thierry, but nothing like that, man. In a stacked Barca team.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another Tea with Timbsy. It's a very special one today because I'm joined by my very good friend, the legend, Julien Laurens.
Hello my man, you okay brother?
I'm very good, thank you.
So good to be here, man.
I love this man. I love this man. This is the first time I've ever had a football journalist on my show.
Oh, thank you, I'm really honoured.
I'm very honoured to have you on. It's amazing, man.
Yeah, it's good, man.
You're legit.
Thank you. I try.
But obviously, it's weird because I was actually thinking on the way here with Josh, I was like, when did I actually meet you? And going back in our messages, it was October 2020.
Yeah.
We talked about Arsene because you were interviewing Arsene or something like that.
Yeah. I think we saw each other once in a very exclusive members club in. I'm not sure if we can reveal that. Somewhere in the Cotswolds, if you remember.
Did we? Yes, I remember. Farmo, yeah.
Yes, which was cool. But obviously I'd come across all your work and stuff. And I think it's exciting. And I just love everything you do. So I'm really honored to be here. Have tea with you. Peppermint for me.
Yes, and peppermint for me as well.
Perfect.
So
cheers. I think cheers, my man.
Santé.
And thank you. Santé.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, because you are also French, really. No. Yeah, you are.
I can speak a bit of French.
Yeah,
I was actually thinking, so when I told my mate John, because he loves you, he's like, mate, you need to speak French with him. I'm like, he's actually French, and I just speak French. It's not like...
Yeah, but there's something French in you I can tell.
I agree. I've spent enough time there that I can appreciate. And as we have the special Vieira shirt on the side here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. France is a big part of my life. I actually wanted to speak to you about that. Obviously, you're like so French in my eyes, but also so English. Because I think you're so synonymous with like even English football coverage and stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because I moved here now 20 years ago, so it's a long time here. Soon I would have spent more time in London than in Paris, which I never thought I would ever in my life with any other city than Paris. Really, I'm such a strong
Parisian.
Paris born and bred. And my wife, everybody who asks my wife, "Oh, where's your husband from?" She doesn't even say France. She just says he's from Paris. He's Parisian before being French, really, which is the truth, which all Parisians feel like.
Yeah.
But to almost like adopted London as the other city. The children were obviously born here. I love Arsenal. There's a lot of things I love about London that you can't find in Paris, but there's also a lot of things that I love about Paris that are not here either.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's this duality really, and my kids obviously have the two languages, the two passports, the two cultures.
Yeah.
Very much so. And then I feel almost the same. I have this French culture, obviously, but all that English culture coming through as well, either through living here, my wife, just having a lot of English friends, and just being part of life here, really.
So you feel kind of semi-English,
Yeah.
And if not, we see you as one of our own. Anyway,
no, which is true, and I don't really feel anything when the anthem is on, for example. To me, that's not, and the kids are strongly French, and my wife is Welsh too. But there's something that this feels like home, really.
Yeah.
Which I never thought again another city than Paris would feel like that, but it is, and I think that's great. And as much as I love English football, it also feel like I came at the right time to be able to talk about French football here too, and PSG especially, and also find this kind of niche market where I can talk to the French people through French media about English football and all the French players here, and then talk about French football here in England with people who are listening here to radio shows or TV shows or whatever, podcasts and YouTube shows and stuff like that. So it worked out really well to have the two, to be fair.
Going back to the very start, so did you study like broadcast journalism or journalism in Paris, or like when did the move to England come about and why?
So from the beginning, I can remember quite vividly being young, like maybe 5 and 6, and saying to my mum, listen, either I would become a footballer, professional footballer,
of course,
and if I can't make it for whatever reason, like I understood very early that it was going to be difficult, but still, then what's the next big thing really that can come after is to talk about it and to have a life around football or with football in it, basically. And I thought this would be great. I grew up with no television until I was like maybe 12 or 13 because my parents just didn't watch much TV. So it was a lot on radio. We had L'Équipe and Le Parisien newspapers in our house all the time. So it was very much that. So I read a lot of football articles and everything. And I felt this is it. If I can't make it as a pro, this is what I want to do really. And I think I pushed as much as possible can I make it or not until I was 18, 19, playing in the 4th division in France, which was really good.
Nice, yeah.
And then my dad, which I expected that chat to come, said, look, listen, this is not great, let's be honest. And so your League 2 here, our 4th division is only semi-pro. It's not fully pro. Semi-pro, good level. A lot of the kids who were released from academies play in that kind of league. So it's a very good level, decent crowd, decent-ish. But there's not much money. And my dad was like, come on.
It's not a career.
Yeah, not really. And my dad is, he was quite strict and everything. And he said, why don't you just try to become a football journalist and you can live your life through football still and talk about it. And, it could be a pretty good life. And I said, yeah, let's go for it. And I think I was probably made more for that life than to become a professional footballer.
Yeah, that's like every boy's dream. Being a professional footballer. And I was kind of the same where I knew I'd never make it pro. But thinking, whilst I was looking for a job, I want to do something in sport. I've done bits of like journalism and writing for the university newspaper, for the varsity football game and all that, basic stuff. But then even at the beginning for me was the only real jobs were like you on the radio or you write articles or maybe Sky Sports News. Yeah. And that was like it. Yeah. But for you, when you were growing up, was it like Eurosport? Or like what were the shows?
Canal Plus, like in France, Canal Plus was the big channel with a lot of French football on, like football on it, even English football and stuff. And I wanted to write articles because the dream was to work for L'Équipe. L'Équipe is so big in France, daily newspaper, only sports, nothing else. Like you don't have in England, like they have in Spain or they have in Italy or they have in Germany, but you don't have here in England.
No.
But L'Équipe was great, and being from Paris, Le Parisien was always a big appeal to me. So when I was at journalism school after graduated from university, I did history and English at university. To prepare to try to pass the exam to get into one of the journalism school. I got one in Tours, which is like an hour down. So the middle France really. And then I got lucky. I got an internship at Le Parisien, where I did really well. And then they kept me on. And then it's them who decided to send me over here in January 2004, because we just had the draw for the Euros 04 in Portugal, and France and England were drawn in the same group.
Okay, wow.
Which is the famous 2-2 where Zidane was sick and scored those 2 goals in that game in Portugal.
Is it the free kick on the left?
Exactly. And then penalty. And then Le Parisien said to me in January, listen, we need you to go for 6 months. Basically from January to June, you come back for the Euros here. But in that time, you do a lot of interviews with Vieira, Thierry, all the French players who play in England, do a lot of things on the rivalry between France and England, football-wise, socially, historically. So I came really here for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then I met my wife here already, and then and then there was something I loved about London and England and English football anywhere I go. And to be fair, I just loved the way the media worked here around football. There was such a power, and there still is, maybe a little bit less now, but still a power from tabloids or broadsheet newspapers. Sky was great to watch, and then you had BT and TNT now and all of that. But the BBC was amazing, and I was like, wow, it would be cool to stay here and find a way of just doing a lot of shows when my English gets better, and maybe for the French as well, But here in England, I would love, because if in France, we love football, but we are not a passionate country.
Okay.
We would never send 20, 30,000 fans to an away game at football or any other sport, rugby, basketball. That doesn't exist for us. Mm-hmm. Not like you. Like I remember when I moved here, cricket was still on Channel 4 at the time. So I used to watch a lot of cricket, loving it, not really understanding, but loving it. And I could see like 15,000 English fans in Barbados for a test, and I was like, what? They travel across the world for cricket?
Yeah.
It was just blowing my mind, because in France, we love sport, but we're not passionate about it like you are here in England.
Okay.
So that was the idea, trying to find a way of making it to English media And I remember my wife saying, in England, they love accents. Accent is great. They like all sort of English accent or Scottish or Irish or Welsh, whatever. But even like, they would like your French accent. I was like, come on. And I think there's a bit of that. People just recognize the accent and the voice, really.
I think it's true, though, because if you go back into like what we see now as the iconic sports shows and football shows, like James Richardson, who's someone you work with, right? Who's a legend.
Yeah.
Almost like more of a legend now than he was when he was doing like Football Italia.
Yeah, like
which
hero now.
Everyone, I think, from maybe like the kids nowadays, obviously don't know what it is because it's stopped, but everyone remembers Football Italia. James Richardson with a newspaper and a coffee on a street somewhere in Italy.
Yeah.
There was like an appetite for different football. That's kind of maybe been a bit lost now, as you say. It's changed a little bit.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
But when you came over, what was it that you say it was maybe different in the UK in terms of the coverage and the journalism versus France? What is the difference? Like, what did you like so much about it?
I don't know. I felt there was just football everywhere here. Everywhere.
We're just football crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not always, the greatest coverage. Or, you can, but I also thought you could find the coverage that you liked. So Soccer AM, for example, for the ones who remember that show. Yeah. And again, I show my age, but 20 years ago, that was big. And we had nothing similar in France at all. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. Yeah. And, the match of the day music, which we had a similar show in France called Jour de Foot or Téléfoot.
They said Match of the Day.
Yeah, well, or Match of the Day now, on Canal+, but that's,
I say Z because it says Z.
Yeah, it says Z and E, because so many French people can't say the properly, they say the, which is embarrassing. Like, every time my kids hear French talking, like French people talking with that kind of super strong French accent, they're like, oh, come on, man. So there's a bit of that, but so there was that, and then there was Sunday morning, Sunday supplement on television, and I was like, well, hang on. What? There's people on TV talking about what's in the newspapers in this country. And I was like, what? And this was, for me, it was, again, because France was great, and we had some really good pundits and journalists and commentators and stuff. L'Équipe is amazing.
Yeah.
And all of that. But here, it felt just another level. It felt like another league, really. It felt really like, this is the Premier League of media, and then in France, you're still back at the Ligue 1 kind of level.
Okay.
And the other day, I did Sunday supplement that has come back a bit on Sky now, and I felt really like super proud to do this show now. And the kids didn't know what it was, and we tried to explain. No, but it's quite big. And same when I did the Match of the Day Champions League last season. For me, a friend, like a Parisian guy, with English as a second language, to do Match of the Day in my life was just incredible. I was, so proud. My mum is not with me anymore, unfortunately, but from wherever she is, and again, she would not have no idea what Match of the Day is, but I make sure I told her, like, this was big really. So it just felt football was so big everywhere. It was just like this huge thing that I just wanted to be part of. Really.
Yeah. When I was growing up, Soccer Supplement Sunday Supplement, I never liked it, because I was too young. I was like, why do I care? These four people talking about newspapers with a coffee.
Yeah.
Whereas now, it's my dream show.
Yeah, of course.
There is nothing better than talking about football and discussing the headlines and being able to debate and just talk things through.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
The only thing I just wanted to add to that, because I think it's a fascinating discussion. In France, there was just one way of treating football. It was L'Équipe for your written press or what you wanted to read, and a bit Le Parisien, but L'Équipe especially. And then for the rest, it was just a very traditional, you turn on, there's a bit of pre-match, then the match is happening, a little bit of post-match in some games.
Yeah.
On the radio, the same, and then that was it. When I moved here, it just felt like there was so different ways of that football was being treated.
Yeah.
For the Premier League, for the Champions League. I mean, Sky were doing an amazing job, I felt like, of covering the Premier League and just everything from Soccer AM to Sunday Supplement to Match of the, just everything on radio, on TV, everywhere.
Every bit of like appetite for football was, everyone's being fed.
Everywhere. Even for La Liga at the time, they had on Sky, they had Revista La Liga, La Liga, or whatever.
With Guillaume.
With Guillaume, which was amazing. And
I
was
watched
like,
that all the time.
And France had something in the 80s called L'Équipe du Dimanche, which was really good. It was every Sunday night, and they were putting a poll out for you to choose a game from either Germany, Italy, Spain, or England, because they had the rights on Canal Plus, some sort of rights.
Yeah.
And you could pick, and three games every Sunday would be, we'd have like a kind of a long highlight, if you want.
Okay.
And so that felt really cool, but nothing as cool as anything that I saw when I arrived in England.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, this is something else. And I love football so much.
Yeah.
I loved at the time playing, watching, talking about everything that I said, this is perfect for me.
Yeah. Well, do you feel like that's almost, everyone says, right, the Premier League, best league in the world, the most action, the most drama, the fandom, everything.
Yeah.
Do you think our coverage of it is maybe a reason why it's so highly regarded? Because, as you say, for anyone watching in the entire world, there will be something for them.
Yeah.
Rather than it's just live coverage, match day, here's the game, oh, that was great, done.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think it got copied by all the other top leagues.
Yeah.
On how to cover football, how to film it, how to just like put a lot of value to it outside of just, this is a football match. Right? It's more than that. It's these stories, it's this drama, it's this player and this manager and him against him, and look at this, and we can tell all those incredible stories that, again, I'd never experienced really before. And it helps when it's the Premier League, because as you said, you've got the best teams and the best players and the best managers. But still, it was just a completely different, for me, like awakening almost on like, okay, this could be football and I can find my space in it and then be part of it. Really.
For sure, yeah. And you have. Yeah, I'm so happy, by the way, just to say, before we move on, like every time I see you on TV, I'm so happy to see you, because obviously I know you're such a good guy, but also I feel like it's about time. It's kind of gone full circle, I feel, where in the 90s, early noughties, as you said, you have Revista de la Liga, which was amazing. And then you had James Richardson, Football Italia. So football journalism had a place in broadcast.
Yeah.
And now I feel like finally we're getting on Match of the Day, on the Sky Sports coverage, TNT, everything. Journalists, yourself, Guillem, James Horncastle, everyone now getting time in a studio with an anchor and an ex-player. And so now I'm like, it for me anyway, provides some like grounding to the coverage, where there's not that other people don't know what they're talking about, but whose job is to actually talk about football. I'm so happy that that's the thing now, and obviously you being a big part of that as well. So I watch it and I'm just like, yes.
And I mean, I think there's a place for everybody. There's ex-pros have to be there, of course, because they've been there. They were in a dressing room before World Cup final, or Champions League final. They've won it, or but there's also other stories to tell about some players, foreigners, for example, especially, or anybody. And I just think there's space for everybody here, really, at the table.
I feel like now you're coming into your peak, right, of career.
Yeah.
So the playing days are over, but that's fine.
Yeah.
In terms of your like broadcast career and everything, like it's getting a lot of momentum and stuff. But over the years, what would you say is some of the best work that you've done, or like maybe the proudest event that you've covered or piece of journalism that you've done?
Oh, that's a great question, man. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, going to a tournament, I mean, we keep bumping into each other at tournament, and it's always great. Being in a World Cup final when France win, like in 2018, is very special, because you were there with the team, covering the team through 4 or 5 weeks, training or press conferences, whatever it is. Players within that dressing room, or the head coach. You've been, you want France to win, obviously, because it's obvious. So when it actually happens, like in 2018, it's something very special to be part of it, really.
Yeah.
In the same way of the Champions League final that just happened with PSG winning it. As much as that broke your heart when they beat Arsenal, and mine a little bit, to be fair, but PSG is my team, has always been my team, and they're in the final. So we have 3 children, 2 boys, 1 girl, the youngest one. The boys are 16 and 12, right?
Yeah.
And I said to my wife, listen, I can't take them to Munich for the final, just in case if PSG lose, they're going to be heartbroken, it's difficult, And my wife was like, you can't not take them, man, come on.
100%.
And the boys were like, Dad, we have to go with you. And I was like, I know, but what happens if PSG don't win, if we don't win? I don't want you to be sad, I don't want you to cry. I'd be working there, and I would think of you being sad,
Yeah.
And they go, yeah, but imagine we win. I said, no, I know. PSG can't win the Champions League with us not being there at our age, kind of thing. I was like, okay, right. And we got really lucky. thankfully we got loads of, I think we got 10 tickets in the end. So 4 of my cousins came, my best friend came, and then the 2 boys came, and I was like, my God, man. And the day of the final, we got there on Wednesday because we had a lot of things to do for TNT.
Yeah.
And loads of filming and stuff. And so we arrived on a Wednesday, so Thursday there, Friday, and the boys went to, like, you know, as you know, it's a big event. They've got the fan zone and a lot of activities for everybody. It was awesome. And then this Saturday, man, I could not eat, I could not drink anything. I was all wild. I remember Stevie G saying to me, we were getting some makeup together before we left with TNT. And Gerard would say, like, Jules, man, you don't look well. I said, Stevie, I swear to you, I can't eat, man. I'm so stressed. And my boys were chill. Like, our oldest one, Rafa, was like, don't worry, we've got this, we're going to win. I'm like, man, Inter, so experienced, so good on substance. You know, I was listing all the things why we would lose. And the boys were like, don't worry. And so my cousins drove from Paris and my mate as well. It was all good, you know. And I was like, man, I promise you, I was like so pale. And the guys were like, you're never going to last, man. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to last. I promise you, it was. And then for us to win, the way that we won, with the boys, so the press box was kind of, the pitch was here, the press box was here, the boys were just opposite me. So I could...
Oh, you could sort of see them.
I could kind of, like, when they put the phone lights on and that kind of stuff, I could see where they were. But knowing that they were there, the way it happened, just everything was so incredible. And then meeting them afterwards, like, we had this big party with TNT to kind of like wrap the whole Champions League campaign, where they were allowed to come, and all my cousins who were like with Rio Ferdinand, Steven Gerrard, and it was just like blowing their mind. We had the trophy as well, so the kids, we have this photo with the trophy. It was just incredible. So that has to be one of the best ever. Yeah. And the last thing I would say, because this was really wholesome, in I think in May, early May, we did something for Ligue 1 around Ousmane Dembélé at the time. So we went to Évreux, where he grew up, which is like an hour and a half kind of west of Paris, towards Normandy. His best friend, who's Mustafa, they grew up together in the council estate, in the same block of flats, was just showing us around all the council estate and the club where they played and all the people who were important to Ousmane's life. And at some point we went to see the under 9s and under 10s training, the end of the training. And the kids were like in the middle of the pitch, and Mustafa said, come Jules, come. He said, Ousmane is inviting them to come to the Parc des Princes to watch him play for PSG, right? But we want you to tell them. I was like, man, I can't do this. This is your thing and Ousmane's thing, you know, not me. He said, yeah, but you know, we trust you and we love you and we want you to do this for us. So I'm here in front of like those 50 kids from Évreux, from the council estate that is just literally across the road, where Ousmane Dembélé grew up. And I said, listen, kids, this is my name. My name is Julien. This is what I do. You know, this is Mustafa. You know, he's Ousmane Dembélé's best friend. So they were like, yeah. And I said, we've got a big surprise for you. And I just told those 50 kids that they would be traveling to Paris 2 weeks later for a game, for a PSG match at the Parc des Princes to watch Ousmane and meet Ousmane afterwards. Oh, wow. And I swear to you, I felt like Santa Claus. I felt like I was actually telling them the best news in their life. I knew they are kids who don't have much, who come from a difficult background, really, from a council estate, and who football is the joy, really, and the hope and everything. And for them to trust me to tell them this amazing news was amazing. And all of that on the video, and then we did such a lovely feature around him for Ligue 1. It was amazing. So those kind of wholesome moments, you know, the special, more than a game in itself or a goal that you see or somebody, even a player that you meet, that is great, but those moments are even more special.
I think it's nice where, it's the moments you've described there are almost like where your career and your journalistic career combine with like life moments. So it's like at the same time those two things happening.
Yeah, completely.
And it makes it like such a special moment. It's great.
One last one, just because you're gonna love that.
Yes.
I think it was in 2010 or 2009. France play Argentina in a friendly in Marseille. Okay. And Maradona was the head coach for Argentina. Wow. And because I speak Spanish, the newspaper Le Parisien, at the time I was still covering France for them, but they said go with Argentina, stay like 3 days there, and you can go to training, press conference, etc., etc. Got an interview with Maradona, by the way, with other people, not just me, but it was still amazing. Like, the guy was the godfather, man.
Of course,
It was incredible.
Like in the scrum, in the
mini scrum. But there was this one training session, right? So it's February in Marseille. It's not warm, I promise you, even in Marseille. And we're there watching training, and Maradona is there with his cigar in his mouth, right? And he's big, he's really big at the time. Yeah. And this is a team with still like, youngish Messi if you want, Aguero, but an incredible team still.
Yeah.
And it's towards the end and they're practicing free kicks. And so, they hit some good. And at some point, Maradona is there with his cigar like that, man. He goes like, give me the ball. So he can hardly walk, yeah? Because he gets the ball, right? Edge of the kind of box, just on the D. He puts the ball there with the cigar in his mouth, man. Top corner. I was like, oh, okay. He says, give me the ball back. Give the ball. Put the ball down. Same, on the D of the box. The cigar hasn't moved, man. He has hardly moved. Like literally one step back.
Yeah.
Or the top corner. I'm like, bloody hell, man. And third one, same. Fourth one, it just doesn't miss, man. But when I say the keeper in goal was just like, he could not even get near the ball. And I'm just like, man. And after maybe 6 or 7, it's just go like, here you go. And just walked off. But like he was walking like that, man, because he was like that. He could not see his feet, and yet he was hitting those top corners like freaking. I was just like, and they had this, like the mannequins for the wall.
Yeah.
So it's not even like if there was.
Yeah, an open goal almost. Yeah.
No, it was just over the wall. Bam, top corner.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, the top corner. The cigar not moving. He could not even see the ball. I promise you, his belly was so big. I was just like, okay, right, this is greatness. Just right there in front of me. I could not believe it.
That's incredible. That's almost like you could describe that, but you almost have to see it to really believe it.
Yeah.
It's like what Gary Lineker says, where he says Maradona did things that he's never seen anyone else do ever.
This is one of the moments that stick in your head. And again, like there's loads of moments, but these kind of moments when you see something like that.
Yeah.
Same with I think in 08 maybe. Thuram was at Barcelona and we were really good friends.
Yeah.
And he said one day, "Come, I'm on my own here. Come with me for a couple of days. We can do an interview. Tell Le Parisien we do an interview, whatever." So I came and stayed with him 2 days. Amazing. And he said, "I'll come. We're not allowed to. We can bring guests to training, but training was behind closed doors at Barcelona." And he said, "Just sit here. And the only thing I'm asking you to do is just look at Messi. That's it. Don't look at anything else."
So 2008, so this is very early on. Yeah.
He said, just keep your eyes on Messi and that's it. Don't look at anybody else. Just look at Messi. And I was like, okay, man, yeah. And I never seen anything like this before. And I've seen Zidane training or Thierry, very special players, but nothing like that, man.
Yeah.
In a stacked Barca team.
Yeah.
Maybe not as good as the kind of,
maybe the MSN
so
days and stuff.
07, 08. And it was just like unbelievable.
That's crazy.
And after he said, as a defender, you try to guess what he's going to do, but you can't because he will react to what you do first. He's that good and that quick feet.
Yeah.
And it was just...
I would love to speak to you about this actually, because I feel like you would understand. Like I've always been astonished by the different levels of football. And speaking to footballers, obviously I've been lucky enough like you to know footballers, to be able to chat to them and get to know them really well. So speaking to footballers who are by all accounts like amazing world-class footballers, and yet within that there are still levels to it where they all agree no one comes close to Messi or Ronaldo or Zidane or that sort of thing, Has anyone actually stood out to you when you've actually met them or you've seen them play? And you're like, wow, that's special. Obviously, Messi being one of them.
Yeah, Messi being one of them. There's a few. I mean, when Karim Benzema got the Ballon d'Or, was special because I saw him grow. Although he's not from Paris, but obviously, from Lyon. But saw him grow in France at Lyon first, then going to Real Madrid. We had some bad moments together where we almost had to fight him, his agent, because at the start with the national team, I was doing a lot of the ratings for Le Parisien, and I was really strict on ratings. Le
Parisien are always, and L'Équipe, right? The infamous for their ratings.
We take them very seriously, like it's a proper process, and so a lot of players are not happy and stuff like that. So we had our lows with Karim, we had our highs, and we were quite close when he won the Ballon d'Or. We did this massive interview for ESPN together, and to see. He's not my friend, as in we don't go on holidays together and stuff like that. But to see people that you really like or you've enjoyed the company of winning stuff like that is special. But really, the thing, there's nothing that could come close to Mbappe in the sense that maybe back in, I don't know, let's say 2010 or 11, this guy that I've got all those people in Paris who go and watch games, and we talk a lot. People I used to play with or stuff like that, and this guy said, listen, there's this kid at Bondy, man. I've never seen anything like this before. So I was like, hang on, what, better than, I don't know, Ben Arfa, or better than Diaby, better than Thierry or Anelka? And, you know, I saw Anelka at 16. I was playing for the county, and when you played for the county in Paris, you go to Clairefontaine.
Yeah.
And that day there was France under 16 playing. And our coach said, listen, go and see this game and just watch this guy, again, a bit like the Messi Thuram stuff. Yeah. He's incredible. And we saw Anelka for the first time at 15, and he was just the best thing I've ever seen in my life at the time.
Electric, yeah.
But listen, if he'd wanted, he would have scored 20 goals. I promise you. He was just unstoppable.
Yeah.
So I was like to my guy, like, what, better than Nico, or better than Thierry? And naming all those guys who came out from Paris who had that kind of reputation when they were 12, 13, 14. And the guy goes, listen, this kid is better than anybody else.
Wow.
So me and my dad go, and we see Kylian 11 with a shirt too big for him, playing in under 15s, because he was already, his dad was the coach and already playing him 2 years up.
Yeah.
Just like the under 15s he was playing against, because in Paris they're obviously quite big, looked like adults, and he literally looked like an 8-year-old. And they could not get near him, could not touch him, couldn't get the ball of him, nothing. And I was like, wow, okay, this is it. And so after that, you kind of follow his career. He goes to Clairefontaine Academy, you follow. He goes to Monaco, you follow. And then you see him at 16 making his debut, and say, 4 years ago already, I was pitch side in this like crappy pitch in Paris where I saw him killing it already, you know. And those moments are special as well, because then when you start to know him a bit, or the family, you say like, oh, I was there that day when you played against, I can't even remember the team now, but so those moments are also special. And then it's like I said all the time, it's like every job. Some jobs are good enough for the best, they're the best lawyers in the world. Others are decent lawyers, others are average lawyers, others are bad lawyers. It's the same with football. Not everybody can play for Arsenal or Liverpool or Bayern Munich. Some are good enough for it, some will sign for those clubs but will never be good enough for it. Others are just good for the championship, but when they sign for a Premier League club, they just can't make that step up. And some are good for any levels. And sometimes you don't know if you're good enough and you discover it. Sometimes you know, sometimes we can see it, sometimes you don't, and you mature later or you develop later. But it's like every job, you know. So it's the same for football.
Amazing, man. Oh, it's so good. Also, you mentioned it there, right? So Clairefontaine, which is obviously like the world famous academy. Like it's almost like a school through the years. What the secret is, and why is Clairefontaine so good at producing these incredible players? And what is it about even the suburbs of Paris? Not to say any of the other cities aren't good, but as you said, like Bondy, and you had like Les Ulis where Thierry grew up and stuff. So what is the secret to just, why is France so good at producing these players from these suburbs, and what is so special about Clairefontaine?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think Paris is a massive city as well. So obviously when you have 12 million people living there, you're gonna get
good players,
talent. But I think for me the key is street football. It's as simple as that, which is a bit the same here in South London. It could be the same. Ryan Cherky the other day was saying that he learned to play in the street in his council estate in Lyon. And that's what his game is about. And I think it's the same for us in Paris. There's like what we call city stats, so like those little pitches that just are built anywhere really, either in your area or your council estate, or it could be anywhere. We have them everywhere, and you play after school. You go home. You have to do quickly your homework. It's not like you have to do your homework. Very important. Sometimes we just do them a bit quicker. And then you go down and you play from 6 until your mum calls you at 8 or 8:30 to go for dinner. And I say, you know, and the weekend is all then. There's no age limit. So you play with 15, you're 8. If you're good enough, you play with 15, 16, 17. There's no referee. There's no fouls. There's no rules. It's just you have to be good and stand up for yourself, basically. And I think this is why, for me, Paris creates and produces so many great players. In the French squad right now, as we record this, of the 23, I think 10 are from Paris. And then you join your grassroots team of the town where you live, or wherever, and then the level is so high already because everybody plays in the street, that then your grassroots level is
a lot higher than it would be otherwise.
So then all the scouts from every club, not just in France but also in Europe, come from a very young age, and then you do the Clairefontaine Academy test, So there's 4 rounds.
Okay.
It's only if you live in the Paris area. So if you live in Toulouse or I don't know, Marseille, Bordeaux, Lille, you can't get to Clairefontaine. It's only for Paris boys. Yeah.
Okay.
Boys and girls. But,
Okay.
and then it's 4 rounds, so I only did 2. I mean, I got the first one through, not the second one.
Okay, wow.
Some like Anthony Martial, for example, only went to 3 and didn't get the final one.
Okay.
Some like Thierry or Ben Arfa, just after 1 round they knew
you
they
just
were
go.
the best. Yeah. Like you do the 4, but you know you're in. And they basically from, I think it starts at something like 250 at the beginning. They're down to 20.
Wow.
Yeah, and then that's it. And then you basically go through the local kind of high school that is down the road, but only in the morning. And then you come back, and every afternoon you've got football, and then they train you.
And is that like a season by season thing of whittling them down, or is that
No, so that group is for 2 years, unless there's a problem with discipline or injury. But usually you guarantee for 2 years. And then you don't play matches. They only train you from Monday to Friday.
Wow.
Then Friday night you go back home, and then you play with your
local team. Yeah. Oh wow!
Yeah,
so that's unbelievable, and it's just
dream,
like excellence, a school of excellence.
Yes.
It's like, so the one thing I remember when I used to watch a Michael Owen Soccer Skill School on video, I used to watch it all the time, and he used to talk about being at Lilleshall, which was England's school of excellence, based up in like near Wales, that West Midlands sort of thing. And that produced as well that 90s and noughties era of like legend, like all of them went through it. And I'm guessing that was kind of the same, but the fact that now Clairefontaine is still going strong, and it's been going on for so long, and it's just like the track record is just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
so
incredible.
good.
And you still have some who don't make it for whatever reason, not all 20 are guaranteed then to become pros. You go when you're like 12 and 13, so there's still a long way to go post formation, as we call it, to then still make it. But you get such an amazing coaching experience.
Yeah.
And like Thierry tells this amazing story where he was obviously very, very good, the best of his year, without doubt. And one day, one of the coaches said, you like dribbling, don't you? And Thierry was like, I'm good at it. I like dribbling. And Thierry already, even at 12 years old, had that kind of like super confidence. Yeah. And the coach said, okay, no problem. So let's do something funny then. It's you against the rest. So Thierry was like, what? He said, yeah. You say you're good at dribbling. Okay, you against the rest of the squad. You have to score in that goal, they score in this goal, right? So Thierry gets the ball, dribble 1, 2, 3, and then suddenly there's like 4 around him, loses the ball, right? Start getting frustrated. And then obviously 1 against 12 or something, so maybe not the full squad, but they score easily, right?
Yeah.
So he gets the ball back, dribble 1, 2, same again, and start getting really frustrated, and the coach said, you see, you can be the best dribbler in the world. On your own, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And Thierry said, that's when he started to think about his head more than just, this is what I'm good at. I'm good at scoring and dribbling. This is what I'm going to do. Because no, there's more to football than just dribbling and scoring.
Yeah.
And that's what they form you to football as a they work your mind more than anything else. So you do keep your pace, for a long time, and basics, passes and first touch and scanning, of course. But they make you think more than anything else there. And that's the big difference, really. And they've opened, so it's like a regional center, really, for Paris.
Okay.
They have one in Toulouse, one in Marseille, one in Lyon. So they have 8, 9 in the country to try to reproduce the same thing. And that has some success too. Some are stronger than others, but never really like at that kind of level.
At that level. Yeah. Okay, that is so fascinating to
amazing,
find out that
it's
stuff.
It's just like, because I think one thing that footballers, and that's why I say to a lot of young players and things like that, you can be the best technically or very good physically, quick, strong, whatever you want. You need to train your brain as well.
Yeah.
Because I was not the best technically, or I was not the best physically either, but I was the smartest in my team by far.
Yeah.
And the only way I could have maybe made it to a 3rd division team in France, maybe like lower 2nd division team in France, was just because I was smart and understood the game so well, and just was using my brain much more than a lot of other players.
Yeah.
And I said to them, now, if you think more than you actually do now, it's going to make you a much better player. Even same to my kids or like younger players.
Yeah.
Think and develop your brain, your football IQ, really.
Do you reckon that's also what makes you like a good football journalist? Because you understand the game well, and also being a football journalist, right? I feel like you need to understand the game well. But then, is it as simple as the better you understand the game, the better you will be at being a football journalist? Or what is the art of being a football journalist?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's stories to tell, for sure. The story of the game that we're watching together, and you will have a different eye on it than me, for example, because you like what a centre-back is doing, but I like a lot what the defensive midfielder has been doing forever. So you and I watching the game with Josh, we will have, there's stuff that we see together and we see the same thing, but there might be things that we see differently. So I think there's a story to tell all the time. There's stories about players to tell, which I think are some of the best stories. And also, I think, especially with writing is a bit different, but with radio and television, maybe you have an opinion that people haven't thought about.
Okay.
I'm not saying something stupid like
just to be controversial.
Not like that. But like a point of view of something that maybe people haven't thought of, that makes them think, oh yeah, so you're, I don't know, in your car driving home from work or whatever, there's a radio show, you're on your sofa at home watching some coverage of football, and you think, okay, yeah, this is interesting, or I disagree with him, whatever it could be, but something to make people think, because every time I go into a TV show, especially because this is the most powerful, let's be honest, and people see you and they can see the game, they have footage, is trying to tell people something they don't know. Otherwise, what's the point of me being in the studio? If everything I said they know already, or they've seen already, then there's no point. So it's that opinion that would make them, oh yeah, actually I hadn't thought about that, and that's a good point. Or no, I don't like this, and I disagree because I think X should do that and Y should do that. Or it's just something that they hadn't seen tactically, or they didn't know that this guy had been injured, or this guy is good at this and not so good at that, but yet the coach clearly has asked him to do that. That's why he's struggling a little bit, and maybe you don't know that watching on television. And again, there will be people watching, some know the game really, really well. Others are just new to the game, for example, let's say, or they don't have much knowledge of it, or they don't know this guy or the story of that guy. And that's the thing. And then sometimes it could be little things, like I remember, don't want to bring back bad memories to English fans, but in Qatar, the quarterfinals between France and England, right?
When we saw each other outside the stadium.
Harry Kane misses that second penalty, right? So I'm there for ESPN and I write my article, and then I go to BBC 5 Live to do the post-match thing as the French voice kind of thing. And we discuss Harry Kane and facing Lloris, etc., and what that is. And I don't know how, because this was December, but back in October with Spurs, Kane missed a second penalty against Frankfurt in the Champions League, right?
Yeah.
And it was not even one of my games on the TNT Gold Show. So I don't know how, but it just
popped into your head.
Yeah, popped in my head. And I said to Chappers, who was presenting at the time, but remember that game where Kane missed that second penalty? That's twice now in 3 months, where first penalty puts it away. He's one of the best penalty takers in the world, no problem. But there's clearly something there with him taking a second. And I remember Chappers' face, because he was where you were, and we were there in the stands. And Chappers going like, God, Jules, that's a great point. And even Chappers himself had forgotten clearly about that Spurs game, or maybe didn't see it at the time, or whatever. And then that took the discussion into a different, and I'm sure there would be a lot of people listening at home or wherever they were listening to the radio, that show. Some might remember that and maybe were saying to the radio, I remember, but others didn't. And then when we started talking about that, okay, how difficult is it to score 2 penalties in the same game, even if you're
opens up a new
against the same goalkeeper, that kind of stuff. And then so little things like that, I think that's the mindset, I think, always trying to bring something a bit different. So people at home or wherever they are listening or watching, or are just something new to them.
Amazing, that's so good. Also, you mentioned obviously a few journalists there, like Mark Chapman. I love Chappers, man. Such a good guy. Who are the football journalists and like sports journalists that you look to as a reference, and you're impressed by them, and you kind of see them as like, yes, I love your work?
Yeah, I mean, my guy is Sam Wallace.
Okay,
at the Daily Telegraph, because when I arrived, he was also with similar age. He was young, starting, so good. I share a lot of his views on football and values and everything. So guys like him, for the viewers who read newspapers still, there's some, but like
Rory Smith at the New York Times. I love Rory.
I love Rory. Rory's my guy. We do. Rory again is somebody who I admire because he found a place. Yeah, exactly.
It's different stories.
Yeah,
I love
exactly. And I love that. I mean, my guys, James Horncastle, Raphael Honigstein, and James Richardson, of course, you know, an inspiration to me.
You seem like a little boys club.
Yeah. And, you know, I find for me, they are so good at everything they do, and you know, I feel like in a different league to them just because they're so witty. Sometimes they have play on words, and I'm like, it takes me 5 minutes to find it, and then I laugh on my own, you know. But James, you know, he comes to them straight away.
Quick.
Like when young boys are on the Goal Show, for example, or used to be on the Goal Show, they have all those puns, and I'm like, I'm way behind, man, you know. So people like that, I just love, and you know, there's great pundits on TV. It's the same. People will like Gary Neville more than Jamie Carragher or Rio Ferdinand. Of course, not everybody likes the same thing. It's like the same for everything. You like my trainers, I like your trainers, but some people won't like our trainers. It's exactly the same. You know, that's why the world is so good, because there's different opinions, different people like different things.
Yeah.
But I think there's great pundits. There's some that I'm not too keen on, but again, normal. It's the same with players or managers.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, I just think that there's a lot to like about English coverage of football.
Yeah. Last question. We could talk all day, but the whole in the know thing, I know it's such a big thing now, with like the Fabrizio and David Ornstein as well. Like, but what for you being involved in that world? I'm not saying you are like, you know, obviously you're not the transfer guy, but you obviously you're in the know in terms of you're inside the workings of football. What goes into being like an in the know journalist? Like, is it just like sources and texting people the whole time?
It's players, agents, managers, sporting directors. Sometimes there's things you can tell, others that you can't tell. They trust you not to say, and then you can't betray them really, so you don't say anything. Because the next time they're going to tell you something, this time they're going to say, you can break the story, that kind of thing. It's funny you said that, because we were talking yesterday with my wife and our younger one, because we're trying to organize a trip to Disneyland Paris and everything. And
my brother's going soon.
We love it there. And when Karim Benzema left Real Madrid to go to Saudi Arabia, which was massive at the time, I had the info by a text message when we were queuing for the Aladdin carpet in Disneyland Paris. And I was saying to my wife yesterday, I still remember where I was when the message went through, and I was one of the first ones to break that story on ESPN. Of my guy leaving the biggest club in the world to go to Saudi at the time, you know, with that big first wave of departures there. Literally with the kids waiting to go on the carpet of Aladdin, you know, the one that goes up and down.
Right.
It was so funny. And my oldest one saying like, no way, what, Karim is leaving? And we could not believe it. And writing the article on my phone like this in the queue as we were going towards the carpets. So you never know when he comes.
Yeah.
The Mbappe one, staying to Paris the first time, so before he left, the staying one at the park with my daughter, the phone rings. Okay, shoot story, Kylian. And again, we were one of the first ones to report it. So then you write it on the phone and you file it, and then it goes mental. I think on ESPN that broke all records of like stuff. So, but for David Ornstein and Fabrizio, I don't know. And sometimes you get it wrong. It's inevitable.
Of course,
it's inevitable. But for all the things they get right, all the stuff they get, it's incredible. And credit to them. And they're two really good guys too. And credit to them, you know, there's people in the NBA, Shams, for example, has the guy, or Woj before, if you like that, or Adam Schefter for the NFL. Those guys are just, they are the guy where everybody goes to, which is, you know, admirable, really.
Yeah. Amazing. Oh, right. Well, Jules, thank you so much.
We should. My tea is cold. Can I come back for a warmer tea later?
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh no, we'll do another one. We'll do another tea with Timbsy and an extra long tea with Timbsy. Thank you so much. Cheers. That's the first time I've cheersed in a way as well.
Man.
Jules, thank you so much for coming on.
Man, pleasure.
It's amazing chatting to you about football, because honestly, your enthusiasm is just, as you say, like infectious, and it's just
thank you.
The love for football. You're such a good talker. And I really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Everyone, follow him on everything, socials, on ESPN, Totally Football Show. One of the best football journalists out there in the whole world.
Thank you so much.
I love you very much.
Thank you so much.
Everyone, hope you enjoyed. Tune in next time. Love you.